All right, here we go.
Hello, and welcome to an episode of the Follow Me podcast. Nerdgasm nor Network presents all of you got to the whole word. Smut Book Club, and you are officially at our first live pizza party. Thank you all for coming in. Let's get some introductions done. So I'm here with our usual co-host and a special guest. Let's do the co-host, and then we'll have Katrina introduce herself, even though I said her name. Tiffany, you want to say hi to the people?
Hi.
D, you want to say hi to people?
Hello.
And for long-time listeners, you may recognize KATRINA JACKSON as the person that we spend a lot of time obsessed with. Hello, Katrina.
Hi.
I would just like to say that this episode is Melissa's official pitch for not being creepy for all of the other people she wants to invite on the show.
So this is what you have to look forward to. Totally normal levels of
Chaos.
I did not know I was signing up to be a lab rat. This, I don't know if this is gonna work.
I feel like it might. Probably. Okay. So here's what the setup is. I am currently looking at our live chat. So if you have questions for us or anything you want me to read out loud, please put it in there. Gonna give a shout out to Kai, JP, and Maria who are currently in the chat. Hello. Maria says hi, Katrina.
Hi.
And Maria loves your decor, Tiffany.
It is really nice.
I do. Listen, I love a good theme. And hello, El Renell. Hi. This is fun. Okay. All right. So I'm not gonna get distracted. I've already gotten distracted. So here's what we're doing. So this is our first of what is going to be, we hope, many book parties. We'll be having some questions. We'll also be asking you guys and telling you what we're reading. The idea behind this was to be interactive, but also kind of chill as we close out the year. They're going to be, hey, Sadet, y'all want to talk about the door prizes, or you want to hold off on that?
We can hold off on that for now.
Okay. JP is apologizing in advance for anything that I'm going to say. And honestly, smart.
Melissa, you don't have to read every single one.
But I like that I'm doing it. So there, I'm going to keep the people updated. I guess they can see each other.
They can see the chat.
That's fair. That's fair. You guys can see each other. All right. So what we're going to do, let's start off. I know we usually end our podcast with talking about what we're reading now, but I think before we get into our questions for Katrina, let's all just talk about what we brought today to read. Let's go with D. What do you have?
I am currently trying to finish up a. Why was I about to call it a gift for Mrs. Claus? That's not the name of the book. Excuse me and my inability to do words. A Man for Mrs. Claus by Rebecca Weatherspoon. It's still Christmassy, or it's still Christmas season for me right now, so I'm trying to get all my Christmas romance reading in before next Tuesday.
Okay. Tiffany, what do you got?
So I'm still in the middle of the book that I mentioned on this week's episode. That's basically a Harlequin Presents. That's a retelling of the Virgin Mary. I'm gonna finish that up. Yeah. And then I actually went to Walmart this morning and I bought 2 more books.
Ooh.
I know. The cover on this one is by Zuri Day, Stuck in the Country with You. And it's basically like enemies to lovers, where she ends up inheriting a farm and he lives next door to her on the farm. And I didn't read anything past that. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna finish.
It's good.
Yeah. That was all I needed to hear.
Okay. So, I like the cover. I feel positive about animated covers. I know it gets the people going. All right, Katrina, what are you currently reading?
Literally nothing. Not a goddamn thing. If I'm not writing it, I'm not reading it.
Love this for you. That's gonna come back. We actually do have a Katrina question from the chat. Sadet would like to know what color lipstick you're wearing. I also would like to know.
So I have bad news. Nothing but bad news, actually. I'm so sorry. I don't know the name of it, but it doesn't matter because it's a Beauty Bakery Lip Whip, which was like the premium matte lipstick. And like a year or so ago, the founder shut down the company because she found Jesus and she wanted to devote herself to God. So
they do both.
We can't.
That's what everyone said. I feel like
what the heck?
You could do both, but she shut it down.
What's she gonna tithe from? 10% of nothing is nothing.
Exactly.
Jesus would have wanted her to keep that alive. Lady, if you're listening, and I know
She's
you are,
not listening.
you don't know. Just in case. Lady, just in case you're listening, bring it back. All right. And okay, I'll go with mine. I started a new historical romance. Well, new to me. I'm gonna fuck up her last name. Lisa.
Spell it.
Klapa.
Spell
Clay-
it.
Kleypas.
What did you say, Katrina?
It's Kleypas. Lisa Kleypas.
Kleypas. I was super close. I thought
No.
That's fancy though.
You know what? I gave her fanciness, and she's welcome.
So at this point, we just have to accept that Melissa is Barbara from Abbott Elementary, and she will call, like, she will just get names just completely wrong, and you just have to know, like, you just have to know what she's talking about.
You're always going to know who I'm talking about, though. Like, that's the beauty of it. So I started her Cold-Hearted Rape. It's one of the Marrying Winterbourne series. I kept fucking seeing that series on Threads. Back in the day, I saw it on Twitter, and it's on Hoopla. So I was like, let me give it a shot because I haven't read historical romance in a while. So that is what I brought and what I am reading. All right, so I'm going to transition us right into our wrap end of the year questions. I'm going to start with, like, on a hopeful note, on positivity. So what book or books are you looking forward to in 2025? Because it's 2024 right now.
If you're looking forward to it in 2024, I got news for you.
Yeah.
Might not happen.
A little late. So let's start with Katrina because she is our special guest.
It can be your book.
It really
I was gonna say, I was
You're
like,
allowed for it to be your book.
I mean, so I'm in that vein. I'm looking forward to everything I'm publishing next year. But I guess if it's not the Seaport books, which are going out next year, then it is my next witch book, which is Invocation, which I had to push back again. Honestly, at some point it'll come out. So yeah, there's that. There also might be a Dracula retelling, but we'll see. We'll see.
Ooh.
Okay, now the girls are locked in. I see.
First, I want to say I like how you put it as that the series is on a vacation.
I mean,
because
like my brain.
That's what it feels like. Every time me and Melissa have had this conversation before, is like we get into a series and then you're like, okay, cool, I'm working on the next thing, and I'm like, okay, wait. And then you come back to it, and I'm like, yes.
I'm gonna finish all the series. Now, will I finish them soon? No.
Listen, that's how I felt about, and I still haven't read it yet. The One Last Valentine, I'm like saving it because I was waiting for it, and I was so happy when it got here. Like, honestly, if you guys want to read an emotional New Year's book that is also very sexy, every New Year. And now you have One Last Valentine to go with it because that couple is featured on the side. I might go back into every New Year's Eve. That shit was emotional. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to take a book break because Maria wants to know what pizza we're eating at our Smut book club pizza party. I hope I got all the words right. I'm eating Little Caesars. Tiffany went old school. Show your box again, Tiffany.
Tiffany understood the assignment. Tiffany was like, I'm going to Pizza Hut directly.
And I enjoy that for her. I haven't had pizza in years, and so I was unsure. Mm-hmm. D, what pizza did you get?
I just got Domino's. I was gonna do the Little Caesars cheesy bites, but everybody was at Little Caesars today because it's a Saturday, so I'm like, I'm not doing that. But you know who will bring the pizza directly to my house? Domino's. And you know who got free pizza on the app? Domino's.
That's because they're doing that damage control. They want you to know that they don't suck anymore.
They're okay. So it's a fast food pizza. It's not as bad as it used to be, though. Like,
that's their whole motto.
Domino's used to be awful, and now it's actually, for like a fast food pizza, if it's just like I just want pizza, I'm not looking for anything fancy. I'm not gonna go there and get a margarita pizza. I'm just gonna give me a pepperoni and them little buffalo chicken bites and be good.
Okay. So then, Katrina, did you bring pizza for today?
No, ma'am. I did not. I definitely know you all said this was a pizza party. And it wasn't until I sat down that I was like, oh, should I have pizza?
It's not required. We just wanted to eat pizza and read books of people.
Mhm.
Like,
That's it.
Look, it's the end of the year. My brain is fried.
This is a time.
That is completely understandable. This year, especially the end of this year, has been stressful. So being like, nah, I don't want to do it, completely understandable. Don't blame me for that at all.
Nope.
So,
all right. Go ahead, Tiffany. I'm sorry.
So I was just gonna add. So Katrina said that she's doing a Dracula retelling.
Yes, let's get back to that.
Yes, and I feel like all of us are obsessed with Interview with the Vampire,
Yeah.
the series, and the books. Kinda, most of us have read them. Low key, we're Anne Rice fans, kinda, sorta. But but
maybe, possibly.
Yes, but I get like my hyper fixations, and so when I was reading the book, I got really into vampires, which I guess vampires aren't the same as Dracula. So I really don't know how I made this connection. I'm just now realizing this, but nevertheless, I'm gonna proceed. And apparently, the first Black vampire story, or the first vampire story that was written in America, was a Black story. It's called The Black Vampire: A Legend of Saint Domingo by Uriah Derrick D'Arcy.
Wait,
That
run
was
that back? I'm
about
looking
to
that
write
up
it.
right now.
The Black Vampire: A Legend of Saint Domingo by Uriah Derrick D'Arcy.
When did that come out? Because a name like Uriah sounds like it was 1835.
1819.
Oh, I was close.
Yes. So the plot was just you have to read it. I read the synopsis. The book is it's like on my to-do list to read the actual book. But yeah, I just wanted to share a random factoid that was like there in my brain. But I'm excited for a Dracula retelling. Do you want to tell us more about that, Katrina?
No, ma'am. I'm not allowed to do that. I'm so sorry.
I was just about to ask. She ain't gonna be able to.
She knows.
I'm not.
It's
I'm not allowed to do that.
Oh.
I can say though, it is part of a larger world that I'm building. So
yes. Sorry.
it is, I'm very excited for it. I definitely sent my assistant Kai a bunch of incoherent voice notes, like, and then what about this and this and that? And I was like, I don't think I'm making sense. And it was like, it's fine. It's fine. So I can't tell anything about that. But it was inspired by a bat in my house at the end of the summer.
Oh my God.
So if you read it in our Full of Terror, then I have accurately depicted how I felt for like 2 months in the fall.
There was just a bat in your house?
Yeah, I don't know how it got here, but like one night I came out of the bathroom
and he was just looking at you like, what's up?
No, it was like flying around my like bedroom, like light fixture. And my cat's on my bed. So like I'm looking at the bat and I look at my cat's looking at me, and then my cat's looking at the bat, and we're all like, what the hell is happening here? And for like the next, like I let it out a door. I didn't just like go to sleep with it. And then it came back. And so for like the next month, like I was like sleep deprived. So I didn't want my cat to get rabies. So I'm like trying to like be nocturnal to like, if it shows up or whatever, to get it. So because it took like a month to get like a technician in here to like check my attic. And I was like, how do people live like this? So it was just terror. It was just terror. It was a good story,
you had to live a month in your place until somebody could come see about a bat that mysterious. That bat would have owned my house. Like,
well, actually, I mean,
clearly I got
we did actually get rid of the bat. Although, did you know that bats are federally protected?
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that before.
Like you're not allowed to like exterminate them. Like if you call someone, like unless it has like they know it has rabies or whatever, it can only just move it out of your place. And like, you know, I ended up paying to like patch up my chimney to make sure it couldn't get back in. But the people were like, no, like if you had called like a week earlier, we actually literally would not be able to do anything because it's like baby making season. And so we can't disrupt their, you know, habitat. So, you know, whatever. So that was my inspiration. Just pure terror that me and my cat were gonna get rabies. So
But why did we have to describe it as baby making season? Because now it's a bunch of horny bats and R&B music in my brain, and I can't
It
get it
is. And I guess it's nice to know that bats have rights.
yes.
out.
I don't know what they contribute to society, to be honest.
I think they're pollinators.
I mean,
I think they
they're
are.
what?
I
Oh,
think
are
they're
they?
I think they spread seeds. Their poop does.
Oh,
The fuck? How does that
that's
impact my life?
terrible.
I
Terrible.
may be on the wrong side of history
Bitch,
here.
you need nature. What do you mean?
What
How
does their poop do? Does it grow the tree?
it spreads? It helps spread seeds.
What fucking seeds?
Whatever fruit or whatever they're eating.
Am I just eating bat shit when I eat fruit?
No.
Man, I could have
Ma'am,
gone
are you eating
five
shit?
without
Ma'am, are you
nausea.
eating shit when you eat any fruit or vegetable?
I hadn't thought about it until just now. I
Well,
hadn't thought about it. And
I'm
so now
glad
here
you
we
have.
are.
Thank you for having this revelation live on air on our YouTube channel. Get some noir.
Eat my last piece
I
of
need
pizza
somebody to
now.
tell me this isn't true.
I'm still gonna eat this
I want
pizza.
to pizza. I've decided no vegetables were harmed in the making of this pizza. And don't say anything about tomatoes because that's a fucking fruit. All right. So,
Girl, fruits and vegetables both. Never mind.
no, stop this. I'm not eating bad shit. Oh,
Anyway.
man. Maria, what about coffee? Nope. I'm going to ignore the chat. She's saying
Anyway,
something about coffee.
Katrina, we're going to ignore Melissa right now. Katrina, since you can't talk about the Dracula retelling, you do have a book coming out soon that you can tell us a little bit about, can't you?
Do I? Do I?
Don't you have something happening in the next couple weeks?
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm like, what are we talking about? The stress I felt, I was like, oh my God. Like, did I forget a book release? So yeah, I am re-releasing my small town erotic romance series, Welcome to Seaport. So I'm releasing the first 3 books or the first 4 books, so that I can continue the series. And so right now, like I have, it's almost like a sort of casual Kickstarter where people can like buy like special editions of the ebooks, and it'll be in paperback for the first time. Yeah, so there's lots of stuff happening.
That's good. That's good.
I'm sorry. I thought that would take longer, and so I took a bite of my pizza.
I'm sorry.
We ran the risk of that when we said it was going to be a pizza party. It's okay.
You really did. I'm sitting with pizza in front of me. I'm not going to not eat it.
So with the re-release, are you doing like new covers and all of that stuff?
So, yeah, they're all new covers. These are my first like illustrated covers for like the actual covers as opposed to like a special release. So, that's really cute. It's the only of my series that I could imagine an illustrated cover with after having said I don't like illustrated covers. So.
I was just about to say, what are your feelings on illustrated covers, actually?
So I've 100% said I don't like them, but I think what I don't like is that they all feel very sort of, or they can feel very samey. So I like ones that feel very, like new and fresh, or like particular. Like there are a few authors whose styles are like so specific in their illustrated art that it is really lovely. I heard there was like a little bit of a mess about some historical romances that are getting illustrated covers. I didn't know that they were.
What? Wait, what's the mess? Wait, now I gotta know the drama.
I don't know the mess for sure, but when I saw the covers, I loved them. But apparently, they might be AI, so I'm not entirely sure what.
Aw, man.
Is it AI?
It was an author. This happened yesterday, and it was Anne Mallory is the author, and I guess she got the rights to her book back, and so everybody was excited that she was re-releasing her books, and so they were posting links and sharing, blah 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 blah, and then it was like, oh wait, it's an AI cover. Be careful, because one of the books was actually free, and I downloaded it before I realized that it was AI. So it's just I guess it's just a really weird place to be in right now, as far as, do you just completely not support authors that use AI? Is there a circumstance I can admit that I'm not always great at identifying when a cover is AI. Um, so, I may have the best of intentions and still end up with one. So it's just and I feel like I don't think there's y'all can chime in. I don't know that there's an answer right now. And I feel like we're going to be dealing with this for a while going
Oh
forward.
yeah. I know
Yeah.
for me with the AI covers, it's especially when it's from like indie authors, it feels really messed up to me because indie authors are like that's like their whole thing is like we put in all this effort to write these books, blah 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 blah. But so do artists also put in a lot of effort to do their writing, and then like people who design these book covers put in effort for all of that too. So for you to be like, okay, well, this part is important, the rest of it isn't, feels kind of, I don't know, it just feels icky to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say also, I think we've said this before, but like it feels like if you're willing to do an AI cover, you're one step away of doing just a whole AI book.
Well, some are, and some are proud to talk about it. Like it is. I think, yeah. I talk about this in my newsletter today because I backed out of a thing. Unfortunately, because they were going to make AI covers, but um, yeah. I mean, I think we're seeing lots of authors, indie and trad, but I think it is because I mostly follow trad author or indie authors, so I see a lot of like indie marketing, but there's a lot of AI use in like promo images. There was that whole thing. I don't know if it was earlier this year or last year where like Amazon was piloting like an AI audiobook narration thing. And apparently some authors are using AI in many different ways. I don't, pretend to know what anyone else is doing, but they're using it in the creation of the books themselves. So it's a lot happening. So anyway.
So is it gonna get rough out in these streets next year, is what I'm hearing?
I mean, I think if you're the kind of reader who doesn't want to support an author's use of AI, like, yeah, I think unfortunately people are going to have to be a lot more careful and do more research than I think anyone wants to do realistically to just
read a book. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
I gotta read before I read the book.
Yeah, it's not great. And I think as an author, like you have to figure out what you will and will not do, like what your line is specifically. Like I can't dictate that to someone else. But it's rough. And I think in the last release or two, Kai's here, she would know, but maybe she wouldn't. But I started putting just like a note on my copyright page that I haven't used AI. Like I, don't take all my stock images, so I try to be aware if there's AI use, but I try not to knowingly like use anything from generative AI. So it's rough.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to a happier subject. Vampires.
Yeah. So let me finish because I took myself on a tangent because that is me in a nutshell.
We love it. Hey, you're preaching to the choir here. We are the queens of tangents.
So there are new covers for the Welcome to Seaport books. The books are also expanded. The originals were all novellas, really short, and they're now all like full novels. So the stories are the same, but they are honestly new books. So that part has been really fun for me, really taxing, but really fun. And then in the special edition covers or the special edition versions, there will also be special interior formatting, as well as, which is the part I'm really obsessed with, and like I can thank my assistant Kai for. Some of them have access to like NSFW art. So the same artist who made the cover also made an NSFW version of all of the characters, and I'm obsessed with that art. So yeah, worth everything.
Because I was a fan. I remember that Office Hours cover.
Yep.
That got
everybody was very upset about it, but like
for nothing.
It's so for me, it's that thing with the illustrated or cartoon covers is the problem for me with the illustrated covers is it doesn't give me the correct spice level.
Yeah.
So like when you have something like the Office Hours or even the one for A Man for Mrs. Claus by Rebecca, like it's telling you this is a romance. People are fucking. Just so
Yeah.
you know.
So you-
And like, just do that. I don't care if it's
Yeah.
illustrated. Just let me know that it's horny.
Also, like I think, so I made a special edition of Sabbatical, which is the second book in the Curriculum Vitae series. And the author did like a step back, or I'm the author. The artist did like a step back for that one as well, an NSFW step back, which I also love. And I'm like, if you are if you're writing an erotic romance, or you're writing even a just straight up adult contemporary that has sex in it, I don't know why everyone has to be looking like they're all teenagers or they've never like touched another human being. Especially if you're an Indian, you have all your like, your hands and everything. Why not do that? So my favorites are the illustrated covers that like give you a good sense of the tone and like have just a little bit of something at least.
That's such a
So
good
not
point. Oh, go ahead,
Oh.
Melissa.
I was gonna say, so not the ones where they're sort of far apart on the different sides of the title.
Unless there's a
like,
reason for it. Like, I don't get it.
I think so. I think that comes from a design space more than because like it's like a graphic design kind of thing where like you want to make sure that you're using the space and you're like, sort of like getting people's attention in certain spaces, in certain areas or whatever. But the thing about it is it's a romance novel, or it's an erotica novel, or it's a steamy novel. We want them to be closer. Like, that's the reason we're reading the book, is for them to kiss now. Like,
A lot of it is just driven by like book talk, honestly, and just their attitudes towards kind of sex and proximity and closeness. And oh my gosh, I don't want my parents to see me reading this book. I don't want my friends to know that I read this. And so over the years, as book talk has grown, I feel like everything has just gotten very remedial and elementary.
that's the thing
And
that has been weird for me,
yeah.
is that, like, even though we are in sort of like a space where we have a lot more access to romance and erotica novels, blah 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 blah, right? And there should be less of a stigma because we should have grown out of it more. I feel like we're like, for some reason, people are falling back into that stigma, and I don't understand why. Like, even when I was younger and I would read a romance book, like the clinch covers, I would just put a book cover over it.
those clinch covers were
Well, my
special.
mom was taking me to the store to buy books. So at that point, so
I just get my
I
little
never
10 books in a bag for $1 from the library. It was a surprise every time I got one, and then I would just take that bag, fold it up, and make it a book cover, take that book to school.
yeah. So like I don't relate. I can understand I don't relate on that level, but there is definitely like a discomfort with just the idea of reading romance. And then I also think the censorship of social media. Um like certain images, certain things that you post, certain words like unalive and all those different things, smexy, which I just think is, I'm an adult. I'm not using it. So everything has just it's just been just neutered, and
Because of
watered
the
down.
censorship.
Yeah.
It's partially because of the censorship on TikTok, and I think like Instagram and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right. A lot of people are very very ashamed of, or worried about people knowing that they read romance books. And there's a bunch of like different societal reasons for that too, because like women romance books are considered women's literature, and it's like a throwback to like women's literature not being as good, you know? And so like, oh, why would you read that when you can read, no shade to George R. R. Martin, but why would you read that when you can read George R. R. Martin? Because I don't want to fucking read George R. R. Martin right now. I want to read people fucking. Leave me alone. Like,
Simple.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna reel us back because we have a Dracula question for Katrina. Other than the one that you're writing, do you have a favorite retelling of Dracula?
No. A favorite retelling? No. I have a favorite adaptation though.
Dracula 2000.
Which one is that? Is that the one with? That's not the one with Renona. No.
No, that's
No, it's
Bram
not. Yeah.
Stoker.
Yeah.
yeah. No, Dracula 2000 was the bad one with what is his name? Who was Dracula? Because he was hot for like a good minute. I can't remember what his name was, but it was bad. It was terrible.
Oh, I don't know this one.
Girl, it's so bad. Go watch it.
I feel like I've watched them all. Now I need to
I
look back.
will say though, Danny Masterson's in it. And
Oh,
so,
okay, no. Then I've
yeah,
never.
yeah, Danny Masterson's in it, and that's going back and seeing that you're like, oh fuck, this weirdo. But yeah,
Okay, I'll add it to my list. I do love the one with Winona Ryder though. I'm a big Winona Ryder fan, and I was like, this is so. And also, yeah, Keanu was in that one, and somehow Gary Oldman's ass, who's been old forever, is like in that one, and he's fine. Like, I love that one. But I did also
Only
watch
one I
the
not
TV show,
acknowledge.
huh?
I think that's the only one that I acknowledge. Is
Well, okay, so there's the TV show though, which I forgot about, with
There's a
Jonathan Rhys Meyers. You've never seen that one?
no.
I think it only lasted a
Not
season.
this.
writing that down.
I think
It's not the one that was like forever, right? Where he was a detective. No, that wasn't Dracula.
No, not that one. That one also, I don't remember his name, but that one, his assistant, I forget his name, was a black man too, who's an actor I also love. It only lasted a season, but it's very like dark and sexy, and so it's almost like a mix of like obviously Dracula, but then also like North and South. If you ever sort of saw, 'cause there's like a whole like labor thing happening with it.
Girl, I can't see that.
It came out in like 2013, and you can watch it on AMC Plus
I have
AMC Plus is trying to take my money
and
again.
Prime. Wait a minute, it's on Prime. So
Well, is
yeah,
it on Prime or is it on Prime with AMC Plus? Because you might still have to buy the extra. You know how they do the streaming services do weird things now, where they're like, here,
you
extra
have to
money.
buy it on
extra.
AMC Plus.
Mhm.
But I'll definitely add it to my list. So thank you
It's a
for
good
that.
one, I think.
All
And that
right.
was like peak Jonathan Rhys Meyers too. Like, so if you were a fan, like that was right when he was still real sexy, but we didn't know too much about him.
Before we found out he was mad racist.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll come back to that because I think Melissa's trying to get us back on track.
Which is weird.
It's the opposite
Hey,
of my usual job. I know.
Right, I want to take a moment to acknowledge this odd moment. I'm proud of you, Melissa.
I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, so we are speaking of our TikTok. We're gonna do a we listen and we don't judge, which kind of has really been the theme of most of our episodes. So this question is: pick a romance book you liked or loved that you know you'll be judged for. So Katrina, do you want us to go to make you feel more comfortable first? Or
Yeah, I'm trying to find the title of this one because I don't remember. But of course, it is one of Theodore Taylor's books.
Okay,
problematic.
you just made this a safe space.
Yeah, I feel like everything else, I have very little qualms. I don't read a lot of problematic stuff, but if I was on her Patreon, if that woman sends her newsletter a link, I'll be buying it. Like when she switched to buying on her website, I went with her. Like it's fine.
Melissa.
Like, girl, I don't agree, but I'll follow.
Like, yeah, it's fine. Okay. And hilariously, though, it's called His to Own. So
we reread that one this year.
We did a whole episode.
Oh my God.
That's gonna be mine.
Yeah.
It was somehow way sweeter and also more racist than I remembered. Like,
it is.
How did she do that?
Wow. Wow, so we really are like amongst our people.
I also love His for Keeps. I think that is her like best written like novel period. But it's
one about the cousin, right? Which one?
That's the country singer.
The country. Well, I haven't read that one.
No.
God damn it! Am I about to go read that one?
It's so good, and it's like it's not so messy as her other ones. No one owns each other, etc. But there is like a slight kind of messy DS kinky thing happening.
That's what I was about to say. Nah,
because when she shows up at that cabin in the woods and he burns her clothes, I was like, now look, girl. But I be reading that section a lot.
Please don't make me read this book.
It's
This
good.
is not how I want to end my year.
I got her co-sign Katrina. You're not gonna like that part. But for like classic Theodora Taylor mess, because that book was messy as hell. Like it's interesting mess. And I also, every time they talk about trap country music, I laugh and die inside. I do both at the same time.
She always bases her stuff on a real person. Is it based on like Post Malone or something?
I'm sorry.
like she self-inserts and she bases all of her stories on real things that have happened.
Is this still in the Theodora Taylor is in the story universe?
Yes.
She's always
talk about this cousin in the other books.
Yeah.
I just resisted until now.
It's
because
good,
he's Mason's cousin. Colin in Fort Keeps is Mason's cousin.
Because isn't he?
I'm going back and realizing Mason and Dixon.
Yeah, Mason and Dixon.
Yeah. That part is like, oh no, girl, what are we doing?
And I've said this so many times about Theodora Taylor. She writes a good book, but her premises are wild as fuck.
Just remember, she started off in trad, so she started off in like category type romance, so where you have to be very structured, very on task, like
structured.
She's really fantastic at moving a story along quickly. Like you never really understand that you're reading a full novel. You're at least reading 65,000 words with her because it goes by so quickly. That is a skill.
Her audio narrator is really good too.
Yes.
So that's another thing that reels you in because she uses the same person for all of her books. Wow, I can't believe we should have like did a pre like we're not gonna go down the Theodora.
Here's the thing. I've come to terms with the fact that even when we say we're done with Theodora Taylor, she's always gonna come back.
She's just there.
And especially when we have found worse than Theodora Taylor, I'm fine with Theodora after we've gotten into the.
It's not the stop.
She does make a hard.
Bring her name.
Oh.
Go
ahead. I'm sorry.
Go Katrina.
I think she does also make a little bit of a shift at some point too, where she kind of softens some of that. I know there is one of her biker books where she was like, actually, let me remind you who I used to be. I have not read that one just yet. I do own it though. But she at some point is like, okay, we're going to. My theory is she heard people thought she was a white man, and she was like, that don't sit right with my soul.
No.
I did.
And so a lot of people did. And so I think she like softened some of the stuff she was doing. But she still can write a good book. I mean, that's the thing. Like she still can write. And at this point, almost everybody in her books is mixed anyway. So
when you create that universe, I love her. Love is strong. You know what? No, love is right. It's bigger than her shifter verse stuff. Because that's when she gets the fucking wildest. Like when she gets to the dragons, it don't make no sense
at all.
She just said, fuck sits, guys. Here's a bunch of words. Y'all like it or not? And I was like, well, Theodora.
That first dragon book is my favorite of all her shifters. Because there's this scene where he refuses to shift to a human. And then it's great. It's great.
I wish she used her powers for good.
She not?
I feel like she uses her powers for neutrality. She doesn't use them for good or evil. I've become. My vision of Theodora is she's a neutral figure. I used to think she was evil, but it turns out she's actually not that bad.
There's worse. We can settle on it. There's
definitely worse.
We've read worse as a crew.
It makes me mad every time I think about it. I'm sorry.
We won't go to the worst of the year, the one that everybody found out about this year. I don't know, Katrina, if you were online enough to find out that everybody discovered Jamila Jasper this year.
Everybody discovered
Again?
everybody discovered Jamila Jasper and Chantel Davis.
I don't know Chantel Davis.
You don't need
You
to
don't
know
need
her.
to.
You don't need to.
Okay.
I firmly believe that Chantel Davis is very young, possibly in high school, and she'll figure it out eventually. It's just not there now.
She on winter break, so we might get another one from her.
Stop it!
Christmas break.
Oh, she got to go back for finals.
I think that lore is true. That's hilarious. I love the idea of like a college student being like, I'm paying for all these credits with mess.
Look,
David, like that sounds so. If you read her books, then that's exactly the conclusion that you'll come to.
mm-hmm.
And it works because this is there. Like
it reminds me, and like I don't mean this in like a mean or shady way. It does remind me of like baby's first fan fiction, right? Like, you know how like anybody who does any kind of like writing thing where they do their fan fiction for the first time or whatever, it's kind of hectic. You don't really understand the character you understand the character voices to an extent, but not really that much, and you really just want to tell the story that you wanted to tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like there's no rhyme or reason to it. You know, people don't make logical decisions. Things aren't moving like they should be moving within the story. I mean, you shouldn't be able to kidnap somebody and keep them in the basement and that be good enough to keep people from knowing where they are, right? Like, normally that's the case. But so it's like I feel like that's what makes me think that she's young, is that's what it seems like, is like she's doing her first little bit of like experimenting with writing, and then as she does it more and more, she'll like find her voice, figure out how to do the different character voices, things like that. And that comes with practice and maturity. She's getting a lot of practice, so the only thing I can say is maturity's got to come in there somewhere.
Maybe.
I guess we do judge a little bit.
We judge.
A little bit. Yeah. It's okay.
So after saying that, did the audience share anything in the chat?
Not yet. So audience, while we're doing this, please let us know. And I won't say your name if it's a shame thing for you, though. People can see your name in the chat. Which book that you know you're going to be judged for that you enjoy. All right.
Good covers.
Melissa, so, what book did you read that you know you're going to be judged for?
Most of them. But what I will say, and that's because, and you know what, I'm gonna do it. I think her name is Rosemary. I don't know. It's for the best that I'll say her full name. It's called His Obsession. I found about it. And let me check my Kindle to make sure I got that right, because I found out about it on TikTok. TikTok is ruined my library. It's ruined my concentration, everything. But this girl, Rosemary, wrote this book called His Obsession. It is very typo written. Like there are just things that don't make sense. And you can tell, I don't think that she gave herself enough time. So it's these two brothers. His Obsession by Rose S. Marie, written in 2020. I think she's going to release with the edits or not. She don't need to, because it don't make any sense. These two brothers are related to werewolves, I guess on their mama's side, but they are the non-changing werewolves. And so they don't change. They just have everything else that a werewolf would have. Like, but not even everything, because it's not like they got super strength.
Wait, time out. So they're 1/16 werewolf.
Pretty much. And
they don't change into werewolves.
They do that.
But they're just wolves?
No, they're men. They're white men.
So they're just dudes.
They're just dudes. They're just dudes.
They're just dudes, and they have werewolves in their family, is what you're saying.
It is.
Okay.
But this is why that's important, because when they meet their soulmate, they become immediately obsessed.
Oh, so it's Omegaverse adjacent?
Pretty much.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I can't even really. I won't even go into the worst part because I got it because I do like reading the thickums, and I was like, oh, and I'm old school BWWM, so I'm like, all right. This book made no sense.
You do
Like
like
he
a
was going to
BWWM.
fire her, huh?
You do like a BWWM.
I do, because sometimes I hate myself and I don't appreciate my time.
I'm gonna
and
break
so
you out of the
waste
habit.
it.
I'm gonna find you a BW literally anybody else.
Listen, here's the thing. I'm branching out now because IR does not. I don't want anybody else to read his obsession, but I also want everybody to read his obsession to just see
Every
how
book
ridiculous it
you read.
is. You said what?
That's every book recommendation that you make. Like, no
Yeah.
one should read this, but I want you to read this.
Like how do I put this? I don't even want to say the wildest thing he did, but it definitely involves one of her sex tapes.
I'm sorry, what?
No, I can't. I'll judge myself on this one. But I had a good time reading it because it was so wild. It made no sense. And then she set up or ended on a cliffhanger about the girl's friend who at the end, I guess, gives birth to wolves.
Wait, okay, time out. We gotta go back.
So
Are they
here's what happened.
wolves or are they dudes?
No,
or
these
they
are
werewolves?
wolves.
So-
These ones change, but they daddy can't change because he only 116.
So, but the babies are 132nd. How come the babies could change?
She don't say.
I mean, genetics is weird sometimes.
It skipped a bunch of them, and then it went to them. So now they like pups or something. She had to give birth on the commune. They can't go to a regular doctor.
Well,
they used to be.
You keep trying to make sense of this, D. Like, I think that's part of the problem is you keep trying to find like this logical thread that ties everything together, and it doesn't exist.
It's not gonna be there.
That's on me.
It doesn't exist.
You're right.
Okay. So wait, what do you guys have for your We Listen But We Don't Judge? I had to say mine.
Katrina said his to own.
Yeah.
I think Tiffany agreed with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with another Theodora Taylor, and I'm gonna go with Vengeance.
Oh, did I read Vengeance?
Vengeance was the one with the 3 biker dudes.
I haven't read that one yet.
You didn't like it. You didn't like it because it didn't touch swords.
And I don't like that she does that. I think
it's very Theodora Taylor in that these dudes are obsessed with the girl. They're very aggressive. She is unwilling, but like, that thing that Theodora does.
Consent.
Yeah, dubious consent, where Theodora is like, I'm tempted, but no, but in a more extreme sense, you know. Yeah. There are the thing about it is Theodora does that thing where there are parts of it where it's very sweet, and then the rest of it is wild. And so yeah, that's mine.
No, you're right. I'm never gonna read that.
No, they don't touch swords.
You don't like it.
No, you already read Katie Roberts' Beast, right?
Not yet, but I did like her hook.
You'll like Beast.
Okay. Everybody fucks with Katie Roberts, and I feel like that's what I appreciate. I don't like it when they're brothers and they share a mate. I'll say that, and I'm gonna leave it alone after that. I don't like that. Theodora does that a lot, and I'm like, girl, stop this.
There was one, you know what? I'm not even gonna ask questions. Nope.
You don't want to know?
I'm gonna stop.
It's one of the wolf ones that I didn't read.
I'm stopping right now. Anyway.
All right. So on a more positive note, favorite book of the year.
Ooh.
I can go first because I check marked them off on my Goodreads. So I actually I think I ended the year with 4. So Sisters in Arm by Kai Alderson. I would say read this book before you watch the Tyler Perry movie 6888, or either after you watch the movie, read the book, because the movie just doesn't make any sense. If it just doesn't, it doesn't make any sense.
He wrote that in 2 weeks.
He wrote it in 2 weeks.
2 whole weeks for that.
A historical depiction of this rarely told story of Black women, and it took him 2 weeks to write it. So you definitely, if you want to know more, you definitely need a companion read to go along with that movie. And then a love song for Ricky Wilde, which I think I was obsessed with. A Harlequin presents Accidentally Wearing the Argentinian's Ring by Maya Blake. This is like the only physical book I read this year. Everything else was pretty much audio. I didn't do any Kindles or paperbacks or anything. And then Sex, Lies, and Sensibility by Nikki Payne. So those were my four. I couldn't read this year. Like my mind just wouldn't turn off enough for me to like read or sit down and like follow words on a page. So most of what I ended up with were audiobooks that I could get through like Hoopla or Everand. So that's kind of my list.
Okay. Katrina, what's your favorite of? I know, well, because you said I know you've been sort of focused. You're in the writer zone. Do you have a favorite book of this year?
No, if I didn't write it, I didn't read it. I will say I just have burnout period. So like when you're talking to me about like not being able to focus, yeah, I was mostly reading audiobooks for like a year and a half, and then sometime at the middle of the year, I just could not focus on anything. So I started a bunch of books and didn't finish them. But it's been like, at least for me, having the break from reading romance meant that I have literally just been writing all year. It's been like a really creatively productive year. And every time I've thought about going back to reading, it's either been in another genre. Like right now, I'm rereading The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley, which is one of my favorite historical fiction novels. And or a fantasy. I've stopped and started a lot of fantasy.
I want to read more historical fiction, like Black historical fiction in 2025, because I really did like Sisters in Arms, and I think that was one of the first ones I've ever read. So that's on my to-do list.
There's been some good ones published in the last few years.
Yeah, and I just didn't keep up.
There was one that I haven't read yet, but I got it. She wrote Wench, and another one. I think it's Dorothy Valda Perkins. Dorothy Valda.
Yeah,
I think
Perkins.
yeah, I've heard of her.
Was it Take Me Home?
Yes,
I read that one. I did read it. Okay, I read that one in audio. Dolan Perkins Valdez. Yes, I love her. She's one of my favorite historical fiction authors. A friend of mine, I'm actually a historian in my day job, and a friend of mine is a historian and a nurse, and we both actually write and research about reproductive justice. And she was like, I read this, you have to read it. And then we had it was nice to have like a good conversation about it, because Dolan's like history is always so on point.
I'm going to add that to my list.
Yeah, I might have to
also add Edward P. Jones.
Now you can't just add people. You got to explain first.
No, okay, this is a legit though. This isn't like the other. This isn't like what I read y'all, that excerpt of I accidentally summoned a demon boyfriend. Like, this is for real. All Aunt Haggard's Children. And he has another. He only has two, but they're historical Black fiction. One of them, I think, All on Haggard's Children. It's All on Haggard's Children in the Unknown World. Haggard's Children is a short story collection, and Unknown World is a full book. And it is Black historical. It is. Whew. I need Edward P. Jones to come out with another one. And I don't usually say that about men, but I would appreciate it if Edward P. Jones would write another book. Thank you if you're listening, which I know you are. D, what's your favorite book of the year?
I have two. One of them caught me by surprise, and the other one didn't catch me by surprise because I've been obsessed with the series since you introduced me to it. That one is going to be Keep Me Close by R.M. Virtues. You know, I've been talking about this book all year. I freaking love this book. It's very good. It's both sweet and spicy. It's got action. It's, you know, my big thing this year is like the thing that's keeping me interested in books is action. So like there's action happening, this, that, and the other. And then, and I know I'm gonna get shit for it, but I'm gonna say that this year is the year that I read the Court of Thorns and Roses series, all 80 bajillion pages of them books, and A Court of Silver and Flames is still one of my favorite books this year. A Court of Silver and Flames, I told you, because I remember telling you all about how I was feeling about the book. A Court of Silver and Flames is the one that is about the bitchy sister Nesta, who I was like, she's the person with the most sense this whole thing. So this is her book. It's very, very good. It's so here's the thing about this book. Everybody was talking about how all the other books were like, oh my god, they're so spicy, blah 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 blah. How could you make this young adult? And then like looking up the history of what happened with that, blah blah blah. They're not that spicy. This book is more, but then again, my gauge is off. This book is more spicy than the other books were. But
Mhm.
even still, I don't feel like it's that spicy. However, I did also think that now you got me saying the white
You were gonna do it.
the white whiskey bargain was also not that spicy, and you guys are saying it was, so I could be wrong.
No.
But
Yeah.
Court of Silver and Flames, best one in the series to me. I love it.
Okay. For me, I would say my two favorites this year were actually YA, and I'm always bitching about how, not bitching, I would say, but I just need the young people to be very appreciative of what they have. Because I don't remember YA being this big of a thing when I was a kid.
Mm-mm.
We
It
didn't have.
wasn't.
I had Christopher
It
Pike.
wasn't, and it was the Wild West. They used to let us read what the fuck ever.
Right. That's true.
Should not have read all of those. What was it? Elon? Not Elon. You know, James.
Not E.L.
This
James.
No, This Invisible Life guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Elon, like with Basil and Cecil,
Yep.
the football players.
They're always football players.
Yeah. Yes.
V.E. Schwab?
Mm-mm.
Hold on, I'm gonna find it. You guys keep going.
Okay, yeah, look up This Invisible Life, because that's what he was. I mean, that was like the first one he did. But my two favorites were This Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings, which is Black vampires, jazz age, enemies to lovers. They went from childhood friends to enemies to lovers, sapphic. It's everything. And then there's also The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste.
Oh yeah.
Which I was super excited for, and I was correct to be super excited for. She's recently left the trad pub world. I know this because authors just be on threads talking about their stuff. I'll be like, "Ooh, what are we doing there?" So
yeah, how dare authors talk about their stuff that they want you to buy?
I mean, listen, it worked because she's talking about werewolf smut. I was like, well, I'll follow. Like, I got you.
It was Elin Harris, Melissa.
Elin Harris, thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was gonna bug me.
None of the things that you said before were even similar.
I got E right. The letter.
Did you?
I did. And lied and lid are basically the same word.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna give you that one. Thank you. Yeah.
You don't gotta do that. You don't gotta give her that.
She did because I was right. It's the same word.
It was enough for me to remember Basil. That's how I found it. The book about Basil, the football player.
You know what? Fair enough.
Yeah. So it was enough.
Marie said she was reading Omar Tyree. Also another author that you should not have been reading when you were reading.
I remember reading my mom's copy of Disappearing Acts. I don't know why. I was out of school for the summer. At home by myself all day.
Is this like a coldest winter ever situation where people keep saying it's YA, but I'm like, I don't feel like this is YA.
Somebody said coldest winter ever was YA.
Mm-hmm. I think we all just read it too young is the thing.
It was actually aimed at teenagers, though.
Was it?
The coldest winter ever was aimed at teenagers. It's a cautionary tale. Yeah, it's very much, yeah.
But then it goes off the rails. I didn't read the sequel, but I read the feedback from the sequel and what it was about. And
Sister Soldier can kick rocks. Is all I'm saying.
Wow, we are leaving this year on a bold statement.
Yeah.
All the way.
We can be honest and say those books did not age well. Like Midnight, like for all that I was in love with Midnight, I grew up and realized that he was trash. Like no, that whole
Didn't he, like,
series.
learn karate, get 2 wives, save the hood, and
I'm
I don't
sorry,
know.
what? I didn't read that one.
It's just
Obviously, neither did
very
I.
It's
black. It had that black women are immodest, immoral, materialistic type tone to it. Like, yeah, and he needed like a pure wife of. It's just
was it
she
like
could kick rocks.
was it like an unreliable narrator thing? Like he was the main character, but he was all it was a what's that book? A Catcher in the Rye, where like the main character is a little shit, and so you have to realize that the main character is a little shit, and that his opinions are
Not
wrong.
my opinion. Other people may, but no. I think she just wanted to moralize to young black girls to, yeah.
Also, yeah, save the hood with karate. Well, I say that as if I don't live in California, and as if my people are not in LA, and as if there wasn't a dojo every 5 feet on Crenshaw. You know what? I take that back. They never mind. That's actually the most logical part of that sentence.
Me and my friend Mr. Nuff agree.
Shut up.
Okay, wait, I'll go to the next one. All right, so we kind of been talking about it, but when we touched on AI, but what are some other big things that you guys can think of that happened in romance this year?
Well, so and we've talked about it. So we went from the lady that was writing the book about the prisoner who murdered, like the Nazi who murdered someone, to Hear Me Out, to now at the end of the year we have Luigi Mangione, who I know his commissary is going to stay stocked and on full for the rest of his days. And so there's this weird, like that shift that happened where no, you're not supposed to lust after murderers to, well, actually, okay, hear me out. Was it a bad murder?
Hey, here's the thing. I don't think that's hear me out. I said this when we talked about the first lady, and I said this again when Luigi Mangione happened. If you're promoting your book with a Nazi serial killer who abused women and blah, because that the guy that she was promoting her book with tried to kill his girlfriend, killed 2 other girls, blah 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 blah, was sexually assaulted people, blah blah blah. He got a big old swastika tattoo on his neck. Fuck that guy. Like, nah, that's not cool. Luigi Mangione is a dude who had health problems, who got fed up with his health insurance and shot a CEO. Like, we all know what health insurance is like. I'm not saying that what he did was right. What I'm saying is, I'm not gonna judge the man. This is the one moment where I'm like, you know what? Only God can judge. It can't be me.
God know his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll turn into the oldest black grandma on that one. Like, nah, you can't do. You don't know why he did it. He did it for a reason.
So,
It's going to be a whole thing next year,
yeah.
and I'm going to try all of it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
There was one last.
Trina,
like
did you have one? Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go Trina. You go, because I can talk about mine in a minute.
No, I don't have one. I was not in the internet streets for
Katrina
romance.
is writing books.
I feel like we're bringing the news to you, and
yeah, I mean, I do know some mess. Like, I like mess, but I think that, like, I don't know. I think that this is why I'm not on Threads. It's a hellhole. Like,
Yes, it is.
I don't see. By the time I left Twitter, I was like, oh, I actually kind of hate this community. It was very difficult to enjoy because it feels, especially in romance spaces, it feels like it's perpetual fighting.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure why. Sometimes I get it. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll hear about it third hand, and I'm like, that sounds strange.
Yes.
It's a lot of policing what other. It's a lot of policing what other people read, which I don't look. I am a person who's like, I'm not gonna yuck your yum unless your yum is Chantel Davis. But like, I don't. It's a lot of policing what people like to read, which I think is kind of silly. I think that if, again, like with the author we were talking about earlier, if you want to write your little murder romance book, I don't have a problem with that. Don't use a Nazi to promote it. That's my big thing.
Well, and I think that the big thing for me this year was just how people, like, there's that old saying, no bad press is better than no press or whatever. And so this is how people have marketed their books. And I feel like we started, I don't know, maybe it was the end of last year, but it sort of carried on to this year where debut authors were just losing their fucking mind with scandals and putting random shit in their book and doubling down, like old girl who made the Nazi, the killer with the Nazi tattoos on his face,
or the
way
Kate
she
Corain
promoted her
lady.
romance novel.
The Kate Corain lady, she didn't do romance. I think she's YA.
She
But
did.
the Kate Corain lady who was bombing other people's books, doing
Yep.
fake book reviews.
Identities, yeah.
And made up a whole roommate or whatever. Or a
Mhm.
whole obsessed fan or something.
Which, again, don't make up somebody in a fandom. Other people are in that fandom. They will know that screen name don't exist. But the final one of the year, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to be a part of giving her press, but it is hilarious to me. She wrote a book it's a white woman. She wrote a black male side character.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the most racist thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he walks in with a bucket of fried chicken. I get real excited about it. And then he goes into how he wants to get some white meat. And like, it's weird because this is blatantly racist. And she had two, beta readers who told her, hey, you shouldn't do this. But then she did it anyway. And then I read some comment. I don't know if this guy was pretending to be her husband and it was just her on a different account. But this black man was like, she's not racist. She's my wife. And she dedicated this one character to her black mother-in-law, who was his mother. So he could have just really said that. And now it's sort of blown up over TikTok, which again, once TikTok is gone, I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, they might not get rid of TikTok. Apparently, Trump was talking to the CEO, so he might change his mind on that. But I think he's just trying to find a way to get rid of Elon. So he's trying to find a different social media platform to promote himself on.
And so maybe we'll still have them because I've seen the book talkers and they're not enthused about going to Instagram.
I'm not enthused about them going to Instagram.
Wait, and we can't talk about this year without talking about our favorite book influencer.
We have to. Katrina's shaking her head. Do you know who we're talking about?
You know hard wig stuff like
that girl got on my nerves so much.
This is the hardest working wigs I'd have never seen. Them lines is visible. I said, ooh, look at you, your shit can go.
Wow. I hadn't heard anything from her in a while though, so that's a blessing.
She's still on Harry Potter.
Is she still doing the Harry Potter
She
stuff?
knuckles deep in Harry Potter. Yeah.
Ma'am.
I did her. I'm sorry, was that bad to say?
No, we're already in it now.
We're here. We're here. I just feel like I can't, as a hater, I can't acknowledge the person that I hated on the most. I can't end this year, in this episode, without acknowledging the person that I hated the most doing.
In the year of Kendrick Lamar, in the year of Kendrick Lamar, that's appropriate. I think that's the appropriate way to wrap things up.
So good fortunes to you, Hardwick. All right. So now let's go into our reading and writing goals for next. You don't want to wish Hardwick good fortune? What you shake your head for it? Oh, because you don't want to wish her good fortune. That's why.
I do not. She getting on my nerves. She getting on my nerves.
Hello. Don't sue. Wait.
I've already explained why she gets on my nerves.
I know. I feel like I wanted to root for somebody, but
you should have learned from the hockey stuff that these white people will turn on you at any moment. Why are you out here? Yes, I did say prayers down. Why is she out here capping for Harry Potter in 2024, going into 2025? If you don't get the fuck, sorry. to
JK
myself
is
because I'm the one
paying.
who's producing this shit.
Okay, so we kind of also gone over this, but what are your, Katrina, what are your reading or writing goals for next year?
My reading goals would be to read. Really would love to regain that skill. Would be nice. Would be
Mhm.
nice. Instead of just buying the books, would love to read them. And then my writing goals are, honestly the same. Allegedly, I have like a whole bunch of books coming out next year. It's a mess. I am relaunching my Mafia series.
Yes.
So
Sorry.
that's happening.
That's probably my favorite. I think that's my favorite series of yours. Is the Mafia series.
Yeah.
I pressed Melissa to read those books.
I loved every one of them. I particularly love, and not every. So I don't know if y'all weren't back with us on the Twitter days when you did the character inspo for the first couple.
Yeah,
and it was
Steve
like
Carell.
sexy Steve Carell, and
Yeah.
that has never fucking left my head.
Honestly and truly, I don't get it, but I get it. Like, it's not for me, but I get it.
There's like a window of time where like his hair is the perfect shade of gray. He got a new stylist. Like he just
the jawline was working.
Yeah.
Like I saw it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm doing a like interstitial series. So to start, because the next full series is the Black romance, but they're all Black romances, but it's set in the US. And so I have to like figure out where the hell people are and why they're there. But I think I told you this last time, but the Black romance series, which is Kai here? Can someone ask Kai if I can like tell you all the name of the series?
Let's see if Kai's still in the chat. Kai, let her tell.
Anyway,
Kai's in charge. Kai knows.
Right, Kai's. I don't get to make those decisions. But the head of that family series in my head is fantastic. As Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes.
The guy that showed up at the
yeah, the brother or
yes, it was brother.
Yeah. So that series is his family.
You can tell. You can give us the title. I just saw it.
It's called The Syndicate. So he and his literal sons are doing some stuff.
Yes, so. I'm so glad. Because literally me and Melissa, when we read that last one, both of us were like, this feels like it's spin-off-y. Is it gonna be a spin-off? It should be a spin-off.
I'm excited. Well, we're also one of our reading goals for next year is related to you, Katrina.
Oh,
because no, I'm gonna tell her.
My second favorite series my second favorite of your series.
So we both have been too emotionally fragile to read Asif's story, and now that there's two of them, we have to.
There is.
And
but
so
he's
it's
gonna hurt my girl, and I'm so upset. I think you'd
be surprised, actually.
Okay.
I'm so scared of liking him. And so
that's what you're okay.
No. Here's the thing. If he wasn't partnered with if he was partnered with any of the female characters, because I like all the female characters in the Spy Who Shagged Me series. Spy Who Shagged Me?
Loved me, but they are definitely shagging.
The Spy Who Shagged Me is an Austin Powers movie. That's why.
If I ever do a British spinoff, I'm stealing that.
But the Spies Who Love Me series, I love all the female characters in that. But because his character type, I actually am a fan of in terms of romance novels, is like the lovable asshole, right? But because of the way I feel about the women in that series, I'm like, stop hurting my girl. What the fuck are you doing? Stop. Especially because she is best friends with my favorite male character in the series, so you gotta stop hurting my girl.
He's so sweet.
Right. And so that's why I hate him, and that's why I'm so scared to read the books. I'm like, if he hurts her, I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna stop reading, and then I'm gonna have to come back in 6 months to finish it. And I know it's gonna end good because it's a romance novel, but it hurts.
So we're gonna face that. We're gonna face that emotional fear.
Okay.
Because I got to finish the
y'all.
series.
I think I've been saying this since Twitter. Asim's one of my favorite characters in the whole series, and you all, I did not expect y'all to hate him. So I was like, oh.
So here's the thing.
Again, he would have been my favorite character, but the way I feel about the other characters colors.
Because when she's not stealing his money to show her affection or lack of affection, but it's really affection, she be crying. And I'm like, oh no.
And that's what it is. If they were both just fucking around, I'd be like, oh, they're cute. She steals from him, but he's a butthead.
I like that he looks for her to steal from him. Like, he gets concerned if there's just too much in the bag. Like, where the fuck is she? And I enjoy that energy. And so it is also, it's part delayed gratification and fear.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to read both next year.
We have a question in the chat, by the way.
Oh, we do? I'm sorry. I got distracted.
No, you're good.
Okay, so question for the group from Maria. Who is your favorite vampire?
Well,
Lestat.
You know mine.
Lestat, like his mama too much for me. Is yours favorite Armand?
Yeah, Armand from the TV show.
I'm gonna go.
Makes you so special?
That is a fruitcake.
I love his crazy ass.
He has a point.
Because what makes you so special?
Work. Okay. I would say
I thought that quote where Louis called when they were having that big blow up, and he called him, what did he say? He'd been suffocated by the softest, beigest pillow or something like that. Like, maybe he drove Armand crazy. Like, maybe. I'm obsessed with them.
I think that I'm gonna draw. I think because we've been so into Interview with the Vampire, my favorite vampire, and this is a spoiler, so I'm pausing to let people know this is a spoiler for season 2.
Pause.
It's dead.
I mean, yeah.
I feel like if I became a vampire, that's who I would be. Be like, I became a vampire for the money, bitches. I live forever. Wait, Katrina, did you give us your favorite?
No. So I guess in the Interview with the Vampire World, it's always for me been Louis. I like Louis in the book. I like Brad Pitt as Louis. I love Louis in the show. It's always been Louis. I love a sad, sad man who somehow can bring everyone to their knees for loving him. That's
true. That is very true. That is true about Louis all across the board.
Yeah, he's doing the bare minimum, and there are people around the world for hundreds of years being like, why did he not love me enough?
Bare minimum.
Absolutely.
My guy is folding it in.
Yeah, and he literally like fucking someone thinking, I want to die, actually. Like that, it's such a perfect character.
Let's do the first 2 seasons. Basically, that's all Lestat wants is for Louis to love him, like him and only him. And Louis is just like at a walking, talking existential crisis at every single point of his life. Like, he's
so selfish. He's absolutely like not keyed into what anyone is feeling. And
Claudia was trying to get rid of his ass. When they were in Europe, Claudia was basically saying, go away. You fucking suck. If you're not gonna help me, go away. And he's like, but she loves me and I'm her daddy. Okay, whatever.
I love it. I absolutely love it. He's such a great character.
My most favorite quote from that whole series, I don't care how many seasons we get, is Lestat crashing out. I heard your heart's dancing.
He literally, it's fine. So it's okay if I fuck other people. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. And then not 10 minutes later, he is literally crashing the fuck out. Like, digging through the swamp. Like, he was like literally crawling through the. Oh my God. I love that show so much.
It's messy
so
as hell,
much.
And that's why I also love that show so much.
Yes. Obsessed.
So we are getting to the end of our questions. I'm checking the chat to see if there's anything else. I love that everybody is also obsessed with Interview with the Vampire. And only mild on Anne Rice. Like
I was an Anne Rice teenager.
I was a goth kid, so yeah, I also was an Anne Rice teenager.
Yeah, I like the fact that she sued people. I just think it's so like sued fan fiction writer. I think that is so iconic. Her and her gray bob, like going down to the lawyer's office. I mean, you kind of have to stand.
Bob.
She had a fuck ass bob. Yes.
Was it a Robert? Is that
Can't even call it a bob. It's a Rob. It's a whole Robert right there.
What the fuck? Why? I can't even imagine suing fanfics writers. Like, what are you suing them for? They don't. As a person who used to write fanfic, I was broke. I mean, I'm not rich now. If Passions writers came after me for my shit, I'd be upset.
How did she even find them back then? Like, was it on like the dark webs or like? How did Anne Rice know that people were writing self-insert fan fictions?
How long? Because I think, most of the time with fan fictions and stuff like that, it was all forums. Mm-hmm. And like people were sharing them with each other. So however, I guess she had her little secret account. Like
they must have wrote something that pissed her off. Like there was definitely something somebody wrote that was like the final straw, and she was like,
she said they were gay. They said they were gay.
Yeah, she really didn't like. She for a period of time she did not like people making Louis and Lestat gay.
Yeah,
which, I mean, ma'am.
Like, did you read what you wrote?
You should have made them boyfriends then.
They took, they did the light work. Like, you wrote much worse because, again, Lestat is in love with his own mother in this series.
Threesome at one point.
We have a chat question.
Have y'all read in the series?
Yeah. So we did a podcast episode on it.
Yeah, we did on the Vampire Lestat. Yeah.
No, I mean a little. So there's that. I think right around the time I stopped reading her when she found Jesus the second time, and it was a mess. But there's that one where I forget what's happening, but he comes back into wherever he is, and he needs to feed. The closest woman is on her period. I was like, there's nothing. Yeah.
Whoa.
She probably did find Jesus after that.
She needed to, truly. But it was like I loved all the risks she took in that series because it was just a mess. It was and she gave her readers, because I was one of those people on those forums. She gave her fans a lot of stuff to do.
Material.
There are polls we can what happened on this singular day on page 385.
I have more books. I have 2 more audiobooks in the series after the Vampire Lestat. I'm gonna eventually, over the course of my lifetime, I expect that I'll read all of the books, but they're just so wordy and so whiny at certain points that you just have to take breaks.
Yeah, that was always my issue, because Louis, honestly and truly, when I was younger and I read through the series, I didn't like Louis and Lestat at all. They got on my nerves. I liked Lestat more when he became Rockstar Lestat, but that's because, 1, he was away from Louis, so he wasn't whining as much. And 2, that was when Akasha came into the picture. And Akasha's big thing is, let's just kill a bunch of niggas. Let's do that. How about we do, can I just kill people? And honestly, I get it. Kill a bunch of people, make me your god. I'm not gonna be mad at that. But I really honestly did not like the sadness and the wine, especially from Louis. I know he's not doing anything and he's getting everything, but when I was a teenager, that got on my fucking nerves. I was like, why is everybody obsessed with him? All he does is whine about how sad his life is for being rich and a slave owner and alive forever.
But I think the thing that I loved about it, if y'all ever have an Anne Rice show, you can just go ahead and invite me on, because I love talking Anne Rice.
We'll do it.
You will do it.
But that's a position usually held by a female character. She literally is just writing like a sad heroine who people are just running to like propose marriage to. It's this incredibly privileged like white man, and I love it. Like I absolutely love it. Have you are you all planning to read her witch series?
So I've read the first one. I feel like I read two, The Lost and Witching Hour. It's been years. Was there more?
There's so technically there's three. So it's the Mayfair Witches. That's what it is. Technically there's three, but then the Mayfair Witches has like a branch, and then it merges with the vampire stories as well, which I think that's when she's doing her best work, but it's sadly like the end too.
Really? I never see when it got to the point where they were like, because what's her name from Vampire Lestat? She's one of the characters that is in both. What is it? Maharet? Is it Maharet or no? Makari?
Merrick.
Maharet?
Merrick Mayfair.
Okay. Yeah.
Is both in the vampire series and in the witch series, and then they converge on the end. But I never really got into it I never really got into it when they merged together, because the witch series didn't really interest me as much. Because I was more interested in the gay vampires.
Yeah. That one's it's a mess, but like I was as a kid I loved gothic novels, and it's a gothic novel. Like it's so messy in that way. So it's also uncomfortable. It's not a recommendation, but like it's such all those books are too long too. Because the other thing is after I think interview, maybe not immediately after, she was able to negotiate that she is just not edited, and you can tell. And it's super obvious in the witch novel because those should have been shorter books and more books, but just the history and the lore she has in that series is some of her best work.
Yeah, because
even documentary on Anne.
Even the interview with the vampire book is a pretty long book. Cause I remember I had the book, and I just remember the print was mad small. I was like, oh, this book isn't that bad, but the print was way small, and I was like, oh, it is that bad. And like that was when she was edited, and it's still very, very long, and there's still a lot happening in that book. And so like the books just kind of keep getting longer and longer almost.
The Witching Hour is at least 2 books like just shoved together. I think it's like 600 pages or something, or 9.
The audio books I have is like 20 hours.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Have you read Feast of All Saints?
I have.
Oh, see somebody else. See, I like Feast of All Saints, but again, I will say, I've said this before. One thing about Feast of All Saints is there are certain parts where you realize, yes, this is definitely being written by a white woman.
Yeah. I think the issue with Feast is it's a great, it shows you how much research she's done, that book is so freaking accurate. And it's such a great story that is messy. But yeah, the obsession, it's that like white obsession with like Creole people and like mixed race people. It's super odd, but
and like
it's great.
The whole thing with what's his face going on his little revenge tour or whatever. Like for me, I was like, I kind of see it, but in my brain I was like, he has too much of a reputation that could get messed up for doing this.
Yeah.
For him to be doing this. So this only makes sense to a white person.
Yeah. Because the stakes don't make
stakes don't make sense on that.
Y'all don't make me read this book. Wait, so we had a question in the chat for Katrina. And I don't know if we've answered, but will there be another CV novel?
Yeah, there's one more. I have no idea when I'll write it. I was supposed to be writing it this year. So I just push everything to next year. But yeah, the last book in the Curriculum Vitae series, Marie's love story, is coming.
Which series is that again?
That's Office Hours and Sabbatical.
Okay, I got you. Oh.
Yeah. Gotta hit it off with lesbians, because why not?
Ready? Oh.
Okay. And I just want to throw in, because I saw a preview for it the other day, like Michael B. Jordan has a vampire movie coming out.
With Ryan Coogler.
He doesn't.
With Ryan Coogler.
Okay, wait, no, I'm back. I was gone, and now I'm back. Ryan
it
Coogler's all Bay Area.
Because it kind of has that imagery
of Bay Area person in my life.
I love him so much.
Yeah. It comes out in April, and it has like the Feast of All Saints, kind of that Southern Gothic vibe to it. So yeah.
Yeah. And like it's giving very Vampires at the Juke Joint, like the trailer.
Ooh.
It's so good. I'm a
What is
huge
it like
fan
that?
of Ryan Coogler.
Because that's just a teaser. I don't think they've released a full trailer yet. So that might
What's it
just be
called?
the teaser.
Yeah.
Sinners.
Sinners. All right, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
said
really
Ryan
I
good.
Coogler. You said Ryan Coogler, I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
They do everything together, so yeah.
What
And
if
they don't
Tyler
miss. I mean,
Perry does a lesbian?
I'm
No.
partial. Ryan Coogler doesn't miss for me.
Now he's got vision. Okay, so this may be very California of me, but there's like two types of vision. There's like industry vision, like Hollywood vision, and then there's like indie vision. And down here in LA, we have a very Hollywood vision. We have some indie stuff. Mostly it's again south of the 10. But like here it's very like polished, right? And then Bay Area to me gives off like a very polished but very indie vibe. Like you're willing to take risks, you're willing to do these interesting stories, this, that, and the other. um and Ryan Coogler kind of gives me, again, I don't know how to explain this, he's just the most Bay Area dude I've ever seen in my life.
I'm from the Bay Area, and I agree. But I think actually what Ryan Coogler does, I don't know about in industry standards, but part of what I love about his stories is that he has this very, which is a specifically like East Bay, like Oakland kind of
Mm-hmm.
story that is a mix of like Pan Africanism and Black liberation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
I
yes.
knew once I saw the beginning of Black Panther, I was like, oh, this motherfucker is from my hometown. Like it's a very specific kind of that connection between like literally like a gang in Oakland and a fictional African country. I was like, this is exactly the lesson I got on the way to school in the morning. Like this is very much how like Black people in the Bay and he brings that to all his projects. Like even Creed, which was set in Philly, felt very Oakland at times. Like I think part of it is in Oakland. Yeah, I'm not I love him. I say he's my favorite Hotep. Like I absolutely
Well, I feel like, okay, so I also feel like there's a difference between like a LA Hotep and a Bay Area Hotep.
I agree.
I feel like Bay Area Hoteps have
don't give them too much credit.
No, I'm not gonna give them too much credit, but I feel like they have a little bit more sense in terms of like, I don't know, it just feels like they have a little bit more sense. Down here, like the Hotepery is very patriarchal.
Umarian.
It's not quite Umarian. They try to make it look better. I the only way I know how to describe it is Kung Fu Hotep, and if you know, you know.
Oh no, that actually makes sense because I was gonna say the thing about the Bay Area is the Nation of Islam. Like there is huge nation presence across the East Bay, and so it's patriarchal there, but it also feels like Muslim-ish or Muslim adjacent.
Like nation, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting.
Yeah. Down here, it's we have Kung Fu Hotep. It's a bunch of Hoteps who also learned martial arts and think they have reached a nirvana or something.
Like there's like Bruce Lee fans almost.
When I said that there was a dojo every 5 feet down Crenshaw, I'm not lying. Crenshaw Boulevard used to have so many dojos on it. So Chuck Norris had a dojo on Crenshaw. Yeah.
If ever there was a place, he should have one.
The hood went up for Chuck Norris like that?
Like Chuck Norris like Black people like that?
So I don't necessarily know if Chuck Norris liked Black people like that. I think it was an interesting period of time where they realized that martial arts was very popular among Black people, especially Black people in LA. And so a bunch of people who practice martial arts decided they were going to get that money.
Damn. All right. So before we go into our door prizes part of today, I got one last question for Katrina. Again, it's sort of a running thing, but I really want to make sure we have enough space for it. What would you like to promote? Like, what's your big plug? Your big, like,
The plug.
run my shit.
Okay. So I guess it's two things. One will cost you money and one won't. One, if you like the Welcome to Seaport series, it is time. We're still accepting pre-orders. So these are special edition books. You can buy it in a set. You can buy it in a book box. You can buy it just an ebook. You can buy just one book. You can do whatever you want. But these special editions also have like foil covers. Like they're very like, this is an event for some of my readers because they have been asking me for this series back. And so this is my way of giving it back to you. And then, so that'll cost you money. And the thing that won't cost you money is sign up for my newsletter. Lots of things are changing next year. If you want to stay up to date with what's happening, if you want to hear me say I'm tired literally every month of the year, you can get it at my newsletter. But you can find all that at KatrinaJacksonAuthor.com.
I fucking love your newsletter, by the way.
Thank you.
So, yes, highly recommend. I have one more question, and I understand if you can't answer it. I feel weird about asking, though. Okay, wait. Okay, so you know that. Can we talk about the other name?
Brandy Bush?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we getting any more?
Yes. Actually, yes. I always have ideas for her. I just don't ever have time, obviously. But I'm hoping that at some point next year, she'll publish a full novel. I'm assuming Kai will let me tell you this.
She wants you to promote your podcast too.
Oh, okay. Well, all right, we'll get to that.
Okay, so but then Kai, you can let us know if she can tell us what she was about to tell us.
All right, we'll get to that, but I want to talk about this thing first.
Okay, while I'm waiting for her approval, I do have a podcast called Black Romance Has a History, where a colleague of mine, Steve Amadown, are two historians talking about the history of Black romance. We're hoping to, well, not we're hoping, we will do a second season next year, but I am teaching right now, so I'm busy. But yeah, I'm really excited to get started on that. It's really fun to talk to someone about like romance, and Black romance in particular. I don't have to pretend as if I read any of the white romances. I probably haven't. So that's been fun. Did she say yes or no?
She has not said anything. Kai, let her say
it. She says yes,
I'll just tell you.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, you can say.
So you can say.
Okay, so Brandy Bush's first full-length novel is going to be called Unfinished Business, and it starts with a character who her husband has unexpectedly died, and in the wake of his death, she discovers all his dirty little secrets with the help of his best friend. And because it is Brandy Bush, all those dirty little secrets are sexual, and they have fun.
Okay, what's the name of this
again? Unfinished Business.
Okay.
I'm hoping it'll come out next year, but if you want to know if it'll come out next year, please sign up for my newsletter.
Listen, I'm gonna stay subscribed. I'm gonna be looking for that because I'm a Brandy Bush.
I do like a good Brandy Bush book.
I do. I literally, when I launched that pen name, I had like literally 8 books I planned to write, and I thought I would have written them all by now, but it's just time. So, you know, she definitely has stuff she's always working on. And I like talking about her in the third person. I don't care.
No, I appreciate it. I love the third person talk about it. It feels very Sasha Fierce. Like, that's who I am when I write those books, but I'm not her right now. Right now, I'm me.
Yep.
And I also like the sexy take on the unfinished business plot because usually, you know, when we find secrets of a dead husband, it's like a family.
Yeah.
So
no. This is like a whole bunch of morally gray characters fucking each other. And I'm like, that is honestly what life is, honestly, and what it should be with a few less consequences. But yeah, I like the Brandy Bush stories. I wish I had more time.
We will be looking out. All right, so now we're gonna move to our. Are you ready for that part? Do you want me to?
Yeah. So we have a couple door prizes that are gonna go out. Basically, if anybody who has been listening to the stream has an opportunity to win. We have a bunch of bookmarks that we're going to be giving out to people. They're Smut Book Club bookmarks. If you look at our lovely background, That's going to be the look of the bookmark. It's going to be very 90s because that was our theme this year. And we also have a Pizza Hut gift card that we are going to be giving people for their. Oh, you know what? Since you mentioned the certificate, I'm gonna make a certificate too. We have a Pizza Hut gift card and a Smut Book Club certificate that we are going to send to one of the lucky listeners, or one of the lucky viewers, actually. Just to say thank you for viewing. We very much appreciate it. And also to just, be proud of the things that you were able to read or listen to this year, because audiobooks are actually reading. I don't care what anyone says. You don't have to enter anything for it. Basically what I've been doing this whole time is I've been monitoring who's been viewing. So I'm basically going to get into contact with you after this to get your information, so that way we can send you your stuffs. Yeah. Anything else?
You just brought up that one thing with the audiobooks, and I hope that is another argument that we can leave in 2015.
No, they're moving to a different platform, so they're starting all the arguments over again. I'm sorry.
That to me, I thought I knew the dumbest argument until you said that. Then I remembered, no, that's the dumbest argument.
That's why we need TikTok to stay up, so everybody can just stay where they are, and we can just kind of keep chugging along. Like, we don't need any more things to argue about in 2025. We have enough to deal with. So let's all cross our fingers that they work something out.
Oh yeah, and Crystal, the Pizza Hut party was called Booklet, right?
Book it.
Book it. Oh, she said
that's not what we're called for proprietary reasons, I think would be the phrase.
Why it's Smut Book Club's pizza party.
There's so many words that aren't those other words.
Yeah. Yes, because I really wanted to do like a TikTok or something with the Reading Rainbow music playing in the background, but I think fortunately I did not have time to do that, and that may have been for the best.
I feel like LeVar's too nice to sue us though. Like, he would understand the struggle.
Yeah, you like to think so.
Yeah, LeVar probably isn't going to sue us, but Reading Rainbow might. They're not the same entity.
He could read. LeVar could tell
Reading Rainbow almost sued LeVar Burton.
Damn.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well,
I never heard that.
I did not.
When he came out with the when he first came out with his podcast, with LeVar Burton Reads, he was doing, I think, the sign off from Reading Rainbow, and then there was like a period of time where they were like, you don't own the rights to that Reading Rainbow.
Wow.
So we might want to talk about that before you start just doing that. So yeah.
That's rude.
I mean,
the only reason people know that fucking saying is because of LeVar. You better let him say it. I mean, that podcast isn't even a thing anymore.
He still does it. He still lets releases episodes. It's just not as often as it was before.
Oh, I thought I saw an end time on that.
Did they have an end time on it? Because
I think it's done.
Oh.
Because I went back to look more, because those would be LeVar Burton Reads got me calmed down enough for sleep so many nights, because that voice is soothing as fuck.
He does soothe. He does relax you when he reads you a book.
But then he's also reading you sci-fi, and some of those things were disturbing, and so I could not go to sleep. Like, you got to pick wisely, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's one of the things I liked about LeVar Burton Reads, is like, he was very, very, very adamant about reading genre fiction. So you got a lot of sci-fi, you got a lot of fantasy, which, I mean, I appreciate it, because sci-fi, fantasy, romance, these are genres that people like to act like they're just like pulpy and just entertainment, and they have no value, but they're all valuable. Hell, they're honestly more interesting than a lot of the navel gazing stuff that people put out as just regular fiction.
Say a lot of your what's that thing people were doing with literature, the color blob cover books. Like, that's how you knew you was reading somebody smart, because they put orange and red and yellow together and indiscriminate blobs.
Is that how you knew you was? Is that
this
how you
way
knew you was reading
home.
Somebody smart?
That's how you knew.
Okay.
You was reading literary fiction.
Didn't know that orange and blue were literary.
I'm telling you, you go see it everywhere now. Watch, it's gonna be like, oh shit. And I'm saying this, and there are some color blob books that I actually really did love. But I see what y'all doing. All right. Well, I think we've come to the end.
Yeah.
Our first, we gotta come up with a shorter name.
Smut Book Club Pizza Party.
Smut Book Club Pizza Party.
You're the only one who is trying to you're the only one who's also trying to incorporate the Nerdgasm Noir presents. You don't have to do that.
Because I feel like it's like Triple Crown presents, or Tyler Perry presents, or Zane presents. Like, you gotta have
Nerdgasm Noir presents Smut Book Club's Pizza Party.
Yeah, that's a lot to say.
Well, you gotta make a decision.
I know. I won't. I won't. I'm not going to. I'm going to just complain. Okay, so this is where we tell the people where we can be found. Katrina, you're our guest. I want you to tell us first, where can the people find you?
You can find me at KatrinaJacksonAuthor.com. Allegedly, I'm on Instagram at @CatJacksonBooks. I'm also on TikTok on author Katrina Jackson. I barely post though. Honestly, I'm a repost warrior. I'm there to talk about or to look at videos on, politics and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then every now and then there's enough good mess on Book Talk that I dip in, and I watch every fucking video in the tag. So if that's what you want to ruin your FYP for, follow me on TikTok.
Okay, and then what was the name of your podcast again?
Oh, it's Black Romance Has a History. You can find it at blackromancehistory.com, I think, or anywhere you find podcasts.
Okay. Tiffany, where can the people find you?
So I am at Trace Tiffany, TRES Tiffany, and I'm on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok.
Okay. And Dee, where can the people find you?
I am everywhere on social media except for Twitter, because Twitter fucking sucks now. But you can find wherever I'm at on the internet, and also some of the projects I've been working on my card, nanicoolj.carrd.co.
Okay. And then I am on, just find me on Blue Sky. That's where I'm the most. That and Threads at Black Girl Geeky. I'm trying to make my book one work out, but I'm also on a bit of a break from it. So I guess I'll promote that next year. All right. I feel like because this is our last episode of the year, we should say something positive about the new year, I guess. You guys got any hot takes to wrap up?
Wait, how you get hot takes and positive in the same thing?
Because you can be a positive hot take. D is possible.
I hope. Oh, I was gonna say something shady. Never mind. I'm taking that back.
Go ahead. Okay.
Go ahead.
I hope to rest more. That's my goal, is to rest more and to read more. And to also but not be stagnant, to keep I had a pretty good I had a good 2024. And so to keep my momentum while not burning myself out.
All right, I see you balance. Katrina, any positive hot take intention you want to wrap up with for the 2024? 5, one of those.
I mean, I think Tiffany's are actually great. So first of all, ditto to literally every one of those. I think people should read a new genre.
Ooh.
Pick a new genre, read a new genre. It don't got to be the same thing every time.
So that actually leads into mine, because what I want to get into more is nonfiction. I'm a fiction girly. It is who I am. Part of the reason that I'm not going to get rid of my Everend, even though I'm always going to say that I will, is because their selection of audiobooks. And I do better hearing, like I do better with audiobook nonfiction than I do with sitting down and reading it. But what I do miss, because I know this is how I'm going to get through all of the Anne Rice's, at least with a physical book, I can highlight. So I'm trying to figure out the balance between that. But I think for 2025, I want to do more audiobooks. I want to do more nonfiction on history, I'm afraid of self-help, but it would be helpful. So what are those?
Okay, I got it. A good one.
Yay.
My good one is, I hope to, and then I hope everybody else does this too. And because you don't have to argue about the books on the internet, you don't have to justify what you like. Read the thing because you want to read the thing. If you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't. But you know, enjoy the experience. And if you like it, again, we listen, but we don't judge. If you like it and you know it's bad, which I do all the time, it's okay to still enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. The chat is requesting you say the shady thing that you
I would.
are going.
I feel like we've been pretty shady.
We've gotten multiple
I'm
requests.
just saying, I hope that girl gets good grades this year in her English class so she can improve on her books. It's all there. Fine, I said
because this is not a love podcast.
No.
This is
what we're here for.
I do want you to know that, like, you basically have convinced me to read one of Chantel's books.
Okay, here's the thing. I want you to read one, and you can come back on the show and we will talk about what you read. I will give you a recommendation. Here's the one the one that makes me very mad. Read The Stepbrother. Everybody else who's watching, don't do it. Katrina.
I'm sorry, Katrina.
I'm going to read Stepbrother now.
I'm gonna apologize now.
It's not going to take you very long.
No.
You're gonna go. So here's the thing, and I thought at the very least it was gonna be one of those things where I read it and I was like, okay, this is awful, but it's fun trashy, so I'll keep going. Because that's how I got into Theodora. Like in the early Theodora years, I was like, this is, but it is fun trashy, so I'm gonna keep reading, no matter what. These books, no, but do it, and we'll invite you back. I promise.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, because we're not done with her. She's not done with us.
She's not. That's the bad part.
The only line we won't cross is Jamila Japser. Like that's the line
I'll call her Theodora's evil twin.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't do Theodora like that.
Like her tether, if you will.
This is gonna fuck up my algorithm.
Yep.
Like that woman is gonna be all over my shit. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming and joining us. Thank you, Katrina, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Katrina.
Stuff because I'm about to read.
For having me.
I'm gonna read that Theodora Taylor book, especially if I find it on audio. Here's the key.
For keeps.
For keeps, yeah. So
it's on Everanda.
Did you get rid of your Everand, Tiffany?
I did, unfortunately.
I did. I have it until the 5th, so which means I can start listening tonight. So yeah.
I just don't trust myself to get rid of it. I have the legacy,
and that's why you're not getting rid of it.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm paying $9.99. Everybody else paying $12. I'm paying $9.99.
Girl, you're paying $10.
Why
is everybody else? Girl, you gotta wrap the show up. We can't do this right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, this show is over, guys. Thanks. I don't have outro music. Dee refuses to let me sing it. The show is cutting off.
Thank you so much for listening. We very much appreciate it. We'll let you know.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you, Katrina, so much for coming on the show. We hope to have you back. You're always fun to have on the show. And yeah, bye.
Bye.